Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. What we are taking a look at today is the reissue of the Marvel Legends Uncanny X-Men Deadpool from the 80th anniversary right here. So we know right off the bat because of this, it's about 5 years old, but they reissued it and I wanted to pick it up because I think it's a really cool comic book version of Deadpool. I know other comic versions have come out since, and I know there's the movie versions of the figures, and those would be really cool for like a live action sort of thing if I wanted to integrate it into like my, if I wanted to integrate Deadpool into like my classified line or something. But I wanted to get this one for a very specific reason. I wanted this because Rob Liefeld created Deadpool. This is a really good representation of Deadpool, I feel, in his early days, especially with like that blue shading on what should be black on his costume. And ideally, I want to set this up to be part of, well, when Loose Collector's Rob Liefeld Extreme Universe figures comes out, they'll never be able to do a Deadpool figure, and Liefeld's creations just wouldn't be the same without Deadpool. So I wanted to get this figure to mix it in with that line. Hopefully it'll fit in scale-wise, look-wise, everything. But I just wanted him standing with the rest of them. And if I can get it, I want to get a Lady Deadpool, a Domino, and a Cable to go along with that. Like, I want those three figures definitely to fit with the Extreme Universe figures. Maybe a Strife, maybe a Shatterstar. Did he create Shatterstar? I think he did. It would be cool to have him mixed in. Oh, especially Shatterstar. Shatterstar looks fantastic. Gotta find those. Anyhow, back to this. This just came, and I had been doing the whole, stealth thing with the Joes and some Batman, and there was another ninja that I was going to be taking a look at, but Deadpool and Wolverine are big right now, so I thought I might actually try and do something that the algorithm is picking up. And it just arrived. Not only that, but depending on when this video goes out, the newest episode of the Ralph World podcast went up on Spotify, and me and Uncle Britt talk about the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. If I remember, there will be a card and link to that right there. And that goes up Friday mornings, and then it'll be on here on the channel on Sunday. So depending on when this video goes up, it's either coming, it's up now, or it happened already. But there will be links to all of that in the description below, and like I said, right here on this screen. Now looking at this has a pretty cool black and white mailer box with it. The cardback figure is on the inside, at least I'm assuming. But this has a really cool mailer right here. I really dig this. It's kind of like a collector's box if you've already had this figure and you're getting it as a reissue. I don't think the original came in this, and I like how it just has the Uncanny X-Men, X-Force. And then the image of Deadpool. We got the 80-year logo up top, X-Men, X-Force on the bottom, blank here, blank there, blank there. But on the back, we have a rear shot of Deadpool. And I'm almost surprised that they didn't put this on in reverse to kind of mirror, or to like kind of be like the backside of this as well. That would have been funny actually if they would have done that. But let's get this open and take a look at what is inside. Where did my knife go? Here we go. Pop this open. Cut the tape across the top. Like so. And now we pull the card back out. And that is backwards. We pull the card back out. And there we have him, the merc with the mouth, Deadpool. And this is what I mean, like, I love the metallic blues, like where the blacks should be, all of the pouches, like, this just, to me, this is like the 90s version of Deadpool. This is the version that should stand with the Liefeld Extreme Universe figures. I really hope they size up real well. I love the artwork on this card. It's almost a shame to rip it apart, but I like this. Katana, and another katana. On the back, Oh, check it out. We have a little bit of a stat box. Here's that rear image that we looked at. There were some more in the wave, but Deadpool's covering them up because of course he would. Dazzler, Storm, Wolvie. I'm assuming that was Iceman. Don't know who the other two were. Here comes Deadpool. Love the little word bubbles and everything right here. He's talking to you from the packaging. Always breaking the fourth wall. So, without further ado, very heavy cardboard too. Love that. Love that they're doing that with my Joes too. But now, without further ado, let's crack this open and let's take a look at Hasbro Marvel Legends Deadpool. Entertainment Earth. Entertainment Earth is your one-stop shop for all toys, clothing, collectibles, and more. Get the newest from Hasbro, Mattel, Bandai, and Super 7, as well as exclusives that can't be found anywhere else. With over 25 years in the business, Entertainment Earth has what you want. Click the link in the description below. And now here he is, Wade, out of his packaging and putting the tape measure to him. We can see that he is roughly 6¼ inches tall to the top of his head. Before we go any further, let me just say that I know there are newer Deadpool figures. I know there are probably more current comic accurate Deadpool figures that Marvel Legends has put out, not counting the movie figures. But to me, this one, this 80th anniversary figure, the retro card figure, like to me, this one just encapsulates Deadpool in his early days when Liefeld first made him and he was the Merc with the mouth and then he joined X-Force. And to me, this is just from that Liefeld era. That's the reason why I wanted to pick this one up. That's the reason when I found out they were reissuing it, I wanted to snag it because I missed it the first time. Because truthfully, the first time out, I wasn't really worried about getting a Deadpool figure. But like I said, now with the Extreme Universe, the Liefeld figures coming out from Loose Collector, Wade just has to be in that group. And so that's why I wanted this one, because this is, to me anyway, the most Liefeld looking version of Deadpool that Marvel Legends has put out. And I freaking love it. Like, I love this metallic blue right in here where the black should be, because this is very reminiscent of like how they were drawn in the comics in those 90s, where like the black was often highlighted by just painting it blue with some reflective surface to it. I really dig this. Also, like, I think it was originally just blue when he first came out. I'm trying to remember, and I can't find any of my old X-Men comics. They have been tucked away way. But I'm trying to remember if Deadpool was originally blue and then they changed him to black, or if this was just for the highlighting. Either way, I love this color combination right here. I think it looks fantastic. Obviously, this being a 5-year figure, 5-year-old figure, there are going to be things that you just kind of have to go with and accept because of how old the figure is. One of those being pinned joints. I know this is a huge reason for stress for among certain collectors, but yeah, this still has the old pinned joints right here. We can see them in the knees, we can see them in the elbows. Also, when we look at the boot cut right here, wow, that is ugly. That is real ugly. They just sort of put that wherever instead of like bringing it down lower to the ankle or something, like how Cobra Commander was that we just looked at. Instead of putting the pivot right here, it's cut mid-calf, and man, that looks hideous. Also, the mold is kind of old at this point, that the limbs have a little bit of gumminess to them, but I kind of expected that when I was picking it up, just because, or when I was ordering it, just because of how old all of this is. So, talking about how old all of this is, how is the articulation? Let's take a look. The head will do a full 360 spin. He can look up pretty well. He can look down pretty well, because this is just, whoop, that comes off. This is just a ball on a hinge joint right there. Love that, love that, love that. Arms will do a full 360 spin. Arms can come up past 90 right there. Really good butterfly joint right here. Look at how far back that can go, and how far forward that can go. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows with some decent amount of travel to them. Wrist swivel Wrists hinge in and out, and this is like, I know I just said you have to accept the old tropes of the articulation, but this is one that kills me because both of his hands are weapon-wielding hands. They should really both rock up and down instead of in and out. I wonder if I have a pair of red hands somewhere that I could swap out with him so that I can get some up and downs going. Now, hidden underneath this belt, there is an ab crunch that he can come forward very well. He can go back real well as well. But you can also see that the sculpt kind of stops right there at the top of the abs. So when he goes back, you can still see that smooth part right there. No ball joint, but he does have a swivel right here at the waist. And once again, that can get a little ugly sometimes, but luckily we have this big pouch belt to help hide that. Coming down to the legs, no drop down hips, but the legs will come forward. The legs will go back slightly, and they will come out to the side only right about there. For Wade, I was really hoping that they would come up much higher than that. There is a thigh cut right there that, once again, it's kind of an ugly joint, but the pouches help hide that. We do have double jointed knees right there with, oh, really good travel in there. You saw that really ugly thigh cut, calf cut, boot cut, whatever you want to call it. The ankles will rock back. The ankles rock way forward. And we have a forward-facing pin for some rocker. And once again, like I said, there are some gummy joints going on right here. He also has the duck feet, which kind of cracks me up, considering it's a Liefeld-created character, because if you know, you know. One other thing about this being an older mold, let's get his arms up out of the way. Like, if you look right in here on his hip, you can kind of see how this seam line isn't quite as closed, as joined, as solid as it should be. And it almost looks like, well, not almost looks like, it does look like the metallic paint is starting to chip off right there already. Just a little bit of imperfection right there. Nothing that's a deal breaker, nothing that you're even really going to notice. But you can see up the entire torso, that seal line right there. And I don't know Marvel Legends. I don't know if this is the old Bucky cap body. I don't know what constituted the Bucky cap body, but if anybody knows, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. I do love this old school, like, merc assassin look on his face. That, like, he was still a smart mouth. He still broke the fourth wall. He was always still cracking jokes, but I just feel like he was much deadlier in his early days, in the 90s, in the early 2000s, than he is now. And I think a large part of that is because they've turned him more into an anti-hero, and there's also probably the influence of the movies. But I just feel like when he first came out, he was much more like Wolverine in his early days, for example. When Wolverine was more the berserker than anything else, I feel like Deadpool was more of a merc man, you know, murderer, than he is now. Granted, now I don't read nearly as many Marvel comics as I used to, but from the little bit that I have read up on him, I really feel like he's loosened up a bit. I love the wide-eyed belt buckle with his symbol down here, and getting back here to the sheaths of the katana. They are actually not pegged into his back. They are part of this harness, of this strap setup that he has going on right here. So there's a little bit of constant weight bearing it down. You can also see that they stand out way much because it's just basically a sheath on top of a sheath right there. So that gives him a little bit, you know, more back clearance than most figures do. But I was really surprised. I thought this was going to peg in. I'm just so used to the Joes that I kind of dig how this is all just one harness piece right here. And give me a minute. I'm going to see if I can actually pull this off so we can take a look at him. Okay, so I wasn't able to get this off mainly because I wasn't able to get the belt up past his chest right here. Like, I popped the head off. I was trying to pull it up. I think what I would need to do is like separate it down here at the waist and kind of work it from both angles. I don't know. Or maybe I would just have to take the whole thing apart. And I'm not about to do that. One other thing that like just really draws this to the 90s, to that Liefeld era, just look at all the pouches that he has going on. The 90s was the era of accessory pouches on on superheroes. Cable, Shatterstar, Deadpool here. Not so much Domino. I think she just had like one belt. But yeah, look at all the pouches. And speaking of his katana, just like it said on the tin, he comes with two, but these aren't really katana, are they? These are more ninjakin. You can tell by the straight blade. I like how they have painting on the blue wraps right here. It looks like they were just molded in silver plastic, and then it was hit with some paint right there for the wraps, which I'm fine with. I like when the blades come out silver. I like that they did this attention to detail of painting the wraps right there. I think that's really cool. Even though Deadpool only has trigger hands, he still gets a really good grip on his ninjakin right here. I really dig that. Once again, I wish the wrists did pivot up and down instead of in and out. But they are not completely bendable. They'll hold form, but they won't break either, which I like. And they just fit right into these double sheaths that we were just taking a look at. And this is pretty much a permanent fixture to him. And there he has them right there in the X on his back. Surprisingly, something else that he comes with is guns. And I don't know if this was before the weapon embargo that like a lot of superhero figures stopped coming with guns, even if they used them in the comics. But I dig this. I like this, an M4 with a scope. It looks like a laser sight on the side and a grenade launcher. The magazine does not come out. This is all one solid piece. Also, I don't know how the original one was, but this is very gummy, very rubbery, molded in a very rubbery plastic, kind of like how a lot of the Joe weapons were last year. But I don't mind that because he's pretty much just going to be standing on the shelf with it. He does look really cool holding it. That it fits well into his hand. It kind of bends around his arm, the stock right there, but it looks good. He looks good holding it. It's color coordinated, and I appreciate that. Now, he is not like the classified figures where there's really no place to load out all of his gear because he comes with other guns. However, I found that with the spacing between the magazine and the handle and the way that the sheaths are set up back here, you can kind of use pressure to hold it in back there, so it can kind of look like it's slung right there. It can kind of look like it's slung on his back along with his sheaths, so he can at least hold that and keep that out of the way to keep his hands free. Something else that he comes with are the MP5s. He does have two of these, and they are exactly the same, and they look cool. I really like this. Before there was the Desert Eagles from the movie, he pretty much always carried dual submachine guns. Sometimes they were MAC-10s, sometimes they were Uzis, sometimes they were MP5s. And I appreciate that they gave him MP5s. I like the look of them. I think it looks cool. This is before they had a large abundance of blast effects, so there's really no blast effects for this. But now that I'm saying that out loud, I want to check to see if we can put maybe Valaverse blast effects would fit on the barrel of this. Okay, so here's one of their over-the-barrel blast effects, and unfortunately it is just, it's too loose. It doesn't really sit on there right. It'll have a little bit of droop, and it'll be way too loose. So unfortunately these won't fit correctly. Molded all in black, it has some really decent detail to it. Once again, the magazine is part of the sculpt, so it does not pull out, but these look really cool. These look really cool in his hands. I like the M4, but he's probably going to be posed on the shelf just dual wielding these things because, like, that just looks cool. That just looks real cool. And like for 90s Deadpool, this is always how I pictured him, just like dual wielding submachine guns like that. So every once in a while he would use the rifle, or he would use a rifle, and he would definitely use his swords. But like this, I just dig this. Even in, what was the video game? Ultimate Alliance. One of his maneuvers was just basically like spinning in a circle and laying down automatic fire from a pair of subs. And finally, he has this really well sculpted 1911 right here. I really like this. The black body, the nice sculpt in there, the nice sculpt work in there. You can see the low iron sights, the open sights along the top of the action right there. I like the screws in the handle. I like the texturing of the handle, and that the handle is is just painted up that nice brown right there. You can see the butt of the magazine sticking out of the bottom of the handle. Now, Deadpool only has one of these. He doesn't have two, but he does have two submachine guns. Deadpool also doesn't have anywhere to sheath this or to holster this on any of that gear, despite all of those packs. So this might be finding a new home, to be completely honest, because this is a really nice piece, and I think I know somebody else that I want to have this. But just so that you can see, let's take the MP5 out of his hand, and let's put the 1911 in there. Get his finger in the trigger guard. Oh, the rifle fell out, and there you go. He looks good holding this too, but I just think the twin MP5s look better, and I think I'm going to find this a new home. And now for size comparison, here he is beside Hasbro Marvel Legends Taskmaster from the Amazon exclusive Cabal 3-pack and Daredevil Elektra. Here he is beside Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Snake Eyes and Jinx. Here he is beside Valaverse Action Force Bone Collector version 2 and Pandora. Here he is beside Fresh Monkey Fiction, Joe Fest exclusive Monster Force Blood Prince Dracula, and Omen of Darkness The Forgotten King. Here he is with Loose Collector Rocketeer and Betty from the Rocketeer Deluxe 2-pack, and I know the Loose Collector figures here are, or at least the Rocketeer is, a little bit taller than Deadpool, and I'm fine with that. I just hope that the Liefeld figures are roughly in the same scale so that Deadpool isn't too dwarfed by them. Here he is beside Lanyard Toys, City Hunter Predator, and Xenomorph Drone. I don't know if Wade has ever fought these two, but it wouldn't surprise me if he has. Here he is beside Mattel, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia, Battle Armor, He-Man, and Masters of the Universe movie Skeletor. Here he is beside NECA Toys, Dungeons & Dragons, Warduke, and Grimsword. And finally, here he is with Airborne and Me from the G.I. Joe Steel Corps. And my new 1911. Okay, so for as excited as I am to have this figure, I really can't recommend this figure to anybody. Let's just be honest, it's 5 years old. It uses old technology for the build, the mold has seen its better days, the limbs are very gummy, and it has the pinned joints, which I know are an issue for some people. Unless you want the collector's packaging that comes with this, meaning that white box, that white mailer box, that the figure comes in, unless you want that packaging just to make it like a unique buy, there's really nothing this figure has over a lot of the newer Deadpool figures that have come out. As I've stated before, the only reason I even wanted this one is because to me, this is like the quintessential Liefeld era of Deadpool, and I really wanted him to put up there with the Extreme Universe Loose Collector figures that are coming out from Liefeld's creations. That's why I want this, and that's why I'm excited to have this, and that's why I was really happy that Hasbro reissued this. But as the Liefeld Deadpool, especially like those early ages, I think this is a fantastic looking figure. Visually, I think it's beautiful with those bright reds, those bright comic book reds, and that metallic blue-black that he has going on his suit. Like, this is a comic book character come to life. A lot of the newer Deadpools are based off of the movies that give it like darker tones in the red, a little bit more of a grittier look, a little bit more of a realistic look. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's not the look I wanted when I was going to put him with the Loose Collector figures, with the Extreme Universe figures. He's even going to be a little short for that, I think. And I don't know if that's because Loose Collector is taller than Marvel. I don't think they're that much taller. And other than the look, I have to admit the weapons are pretty cool too. You saw that I gave the 1911 to Hard Deck. I really like the M4 that he comes with. Even though it's a little gummy, I think the M4 with the paint apps and the detail and the design, I think that looks really sharp, really good. That would go great with like some Joes or some Action Force figures, I feel. And then there's the twin MP5s as well. Like, I think the weapons that they gave him I don't know if they're updated. I don't know if those are the same weapons that he came with when he was first released, but I think the weapons are really spot on with him. And I just, once again, like that whole comic book vibe that this figure gives off, that's why I wanted this. Or, hey, if you're a Deadpool fan and this was the one figure that you were missing from your collection, this retro card figure, now's your time to snag him up again. For right now, he's probably going to go into a tub and just wait for the rest of the Extreme Universe figures to show up. And then once they do, you better believe he's going to be lined up with the rest of them. Like I said, now all I got to get is Shatterstar and Cable and definitely Domino. Hello, and don't go yet. Before you do, please remember to do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you already are a subscriber, you rock. If you like what we do here and you want to help the channel grow, please consider becoming a YouTube channel member or a Coffee monthly subscriber, where for $1 a month you can get access to member benefits like our monthly membership video. This month it is the Mezco 112 Collective Storm Shadow. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.